The story you are about to hear is true. Some locations and names are not disclosed or have been changed to protect the innocent. This happened to me. What would you do? You've just completed your junior year in college, and now it's the end of the spring semester. So instead of going home for the summer, your girlfriend asks you if you would like to spend the summer with her and her parents. Of course, you accept. Now you find yourself in a situation that you've never been in before, living out in a rural area in the country on land because her parents had land. Now you get to roam the land, hunt and fish, and find yourself carrying a weapon most of the time, a Winchester rifle. And you enjoyed it because when you just roam the land, you're shooting rabbits and squirrels and almost every little thing that moved. So you were having a good time. But also, as usual, you get a summer job. And you found a job working with a moving company. Now, you know these type of companies that move people from one location to another. And sometimes, we do a lot of out of town, out of state moving. And you're enjoying this experience because you're riding in an 18-wheeler tractor trailer and going all over the place. Of course, you do load those trailers as well. But that's something else you learn, a skill on packing a trailer. But the thing is, you get to travel, going from here to there, the tractor trailer, moving people. After moving a family to the state of Texas, you're off the following day. And it was also payday. And you realize your check was short. So you call the owner and you tell him about the mistake. And he says, no problem. I'll just call the secretary and you go in and just pick up your overtime pay. So that's what you do. You jump in the car, you and your girlfriend, and you drive to town where the company is located. Your girlfriend remains in the car as you go inside the building. Now, this is a large warehouse, and of course it has a long hallway. And as you walk down that hall, and then you go into the secretary's office, and you realize she's the only one in the whole building because everybody else was off that day. So you walk into the secretary's office, being happy-go-lucky as you always are, smiling and being respectful. And you sit down in the chair in front of the secretary's desk. And you tell her your reason why you were there. And you explain to her about being short on your pay, and that you spoke with the owner and he instructed you to come into town to the office to pick up your overtime pay. And the secretary then tells you that he didn't call. So you ask her if she would please give him a call because he told you to come in and you were just following instructions. She said she's not going to call. Now, keep in mind, this is a lady. You're under the age of 21 and she's about in her 40s. And this is a lady that you've always shown respect to, how everyone would huddle around her desk every morning before we went out on job sites. And so you never saw this in her. You never saw any type of attitude whatsoever because this is a lady that seems to always smile and the atmosphere was always positive every morning. But on this day, when you ask her if she would just give the owner a call, because maybe he forgot to call, and she said she was not going to call. And so you ask her again, this is what he told you to do, to come in, that he was going to call her. And you asked her again politely to please just call him. Because now all of a sudden you're looking at this lady in a different light. She's not like the type of person you thought she was early on for the couple of months that you've been working with them. And then all of a sudden, she says to leave. Now imagine this. The owner tells you to go to the office to pick up your overtime pay, and that he would call the secretary and tell her to cut you a check. She says he didn't call. and she was not going to call him. How would you respond to that? Well, you're going to try to keep the best positive face on without getting upset and not go in the direction in which it seems that she was going. So when asking her again, will she do this? Now, what I'm sharing with you is what happened to me. This is a real story that truly happened. Now it comes to a point you can tell she's dug in. She's not going to call. And then she tells you, you better leave or she's going to call the police. Now think about this. Here you are, your girlfriend's waiting outside in the car. You haven't done anything wrong. You didn't come in screaming, shouting, being rude or disrespectful whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, a person who you thought was a nice, kind person is showing an attitude toward you and telling you that if you don't leave, she's going to call the police. Now, you're sitting there, you knew that you have not done anything wrong. So the question is, what would you do? Would you leave based on what she said and just deal with it later? Or would you stay hoping that maybe she'll change her mind and call the owner and cut you a check? Because you do have a little ride, about a 20-mile ride back out into the rural area. So what would you do? Now, here you are, faced with the situation where she's threatening to call the police. All of a sudden, she picks up the telephone. She starts dialing. Then all of a sudden, she slams the phone down, reaches into her drawer, and pulls out a semi-automatic pistol on you and pointing at you in center mask. That's right. She's pointing that pistol right at your chest. And now, all of a sudden, her attitude becomes more extreme. She starts using profanity towards you, telling you what she's going to do to you if you don't leave. And all I could do was just stand up. Yes, this happened to me. This truly happened to me. And all I could do was stand up with my arms straight up in the air, begging and pleading with her to not shoot. Don't shoot. I'm leaving. Now she walks around her desk with the gun still pointed at my chest and using profanity towards me as I'm backing up slowly towards the door. Then once I get to the door, she didn't shoot. And I exited that long hallway in a hurry. And I went outside and I just couldn't believe what had just happened. I couldn't believe that there was a woman who I had high regards for, who I did nothing but show respect and kindness to, went into right field like that and pulling a gun on me. Now I go into the car and tell my girlfriend what had just happened. She too was surprised and shocked. But now all of a sudden, I'm beginning to feel rage because of what I had just experienced. So what do? I go down to the local police department and I filed a complaint. And I stayed at the police department until the officers got back with me. Yes, they went to the scene and then they came back. And I remember to this day, the gentleman that looked like a detective, he told me, yes, we saw the gun, but all we have is your word against hers. That's what he said. Because there's no telling what she told him. And he said, all we have is your word against hers. Because she was in this huge warehouse all by herself. But when he said, all we have is your word against hers. And you know, I have that police report still to this day. I know some probably listening to this wondering, was this a racial matter? Or was it this, or was it that? Even if it was, in this case, I suspect that it was. Because more that was said as I sat down in front of her desk. She said, that's what's wrong with y'all. You're never satisfied. And that floored me too. Now, I thought not to say that, but I wanted to give you a little bit more piece of the real story. because we're living in a time where it seems that these type of things are raising its ugly head more and more, and there's no need. Why? Because this is the United States of America. We have every race in the world there is on this soil. We have demonstrated a level of working together like no other country. And we've been that light upon the hill that everybody all around the world want to come to. But of course, we do have a deep history, dark history as well. But you know, it's not something that I hold on to. It's not something that even traumatized me. What we have to realize is there's just sin upon this land. There's evil forces and there's good. But the thing is, we can't hold on to the past. We have to let things go if we want to progress, if we want to have a better future for all. Because these things happen and these things existed, but there comes a point in time where we must close that door in order to open a better door to move forward. So what's the gist of this story? Life is short. Haven't you noticed? We're here today and we're gone tomorrow. We can jump in our cars today and our lives end that day. We can be walking down the street and all of a sudden something freakish happen, get hit by a car while you're on the sidewalk walking. We can be walking on the side of a mountain before you know it, slip and fall. You can be anywhere and get hit by a stray bullet because there's just evil on this land and things happen that's beyond any of our control. We can be with people who we show great respect for, people that we laugh with, people that we may even go out to lunch with, then all of a sudden find those same people taking our lives. So what's your insurance? What's the assurance that you know to give you the protection that you need? Haven't you been in awe of this world creation? How everything is in balance, how everything works, how even the vegetation benefits the human body for like oxygen and so forth. So I find my insurance to be stay prayed up, to study the Word of God, to treat all mankind fairly and with decency. Because none of us know when the day has come, and thank God we don't know, because all we would do is worry ourselves to death. But I do believe there is a higher power, there is a creator, and I believe that by connecting with that creator through prayer, that we can get some sense of a hedge of protection around us. And throughout the things that I've experienced, as I look back over my life, I can't help but to believe that I've had God's protection. So what should you do? I highly encourage, pray more, study the Word of God more, fellowship with one another more, and let's see where that takes us. Because I believe if we do those things, abide by the Word of God, we'll get to where we want to be. There are a lot of good people in this country and around the world. If not, we would not be where we are today in this land. There had to be some goodness somewhere. So remember, when you're looking at other people because of the difference in their complexion, just remember, you may be looking at a child of God, someone who worships God, someone who wants to do the right thing, who wants to be cooperative, who wants to love and care for all humankind. So don't rush into your corner and think that all people are like that, because they're not. There are good people in this world. Wouldn't you agree? If you like this video and would like to see more of this type in the future, please press the subscribe and notification bell. And that way you won't miss out on any new videos that's uploaded to this channel.
Déjate abrazar por la presencia de Dios ahí donde tú estás.